Prime developers. It's fucking Twitch
Fucking
Prime
Moncast,
Gaming,
dude.
fucking Twitch Prime.
I got the BOE.
Yes, that's so good, dude.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, nice. Oh, yes, I got a weapon. Yes. Woo! Let's go, man.
There's a piece of a
Hello guys, it's your boy Nattle. So today I'm making an Assassination rogue video. I really like where Assassination is at the moment. It feels very similar to early Legion, like Emerald Nightmare type Assassination, and that's where I was playing at my best. So it really appeals to me to play Assassination. It is, for me, it is better on single target than sub. It depends on your gear, it depends on a few things. But sub is very close. So Assassination and sub is at the point where you can pretty much pick between the two, which one you prefer. If you're progressing Mythic at a really high level, then you might want to consider sub for a few bosses if you're playing Assassination, and vice versa. Because there are some fights where Assassination is better, and some fights where sub is better. But that's a decision you're gonna have to make on your own. I would suggest simming your character to see if Assassination is actually better for you. If you're not raiding at a really cutting edge mythic level, if you're just casually raiding, then you should just pick between the two, whichever you prefer. Because I've had some people that wanted to play Assassination, but they thought sub was just miles better. But that's really not true. So you want to sim your character, see which one is better for you. If you have any questions about this, feel free to come to my stream, twitch.tv/Nattle. I stream around 10 hours a day, every day. So that's the best place to ask me questions and get instant answers. I always talk to my chat. So that's about it. Let's get into the video, guys. Enjoy. Alright guys, let's talk about talents. So this is my go-to build for both Mythic Plus and raiding. So let's get into it. For the first tier, I pick Elaborate Planning. We don't keep this up like we did in the beginning of Legion with 2 combo point and venoms and whatever. We keep this up with 4 to 5 combo point and venoms at all times. This is the biggest damage dealer of the 3. It is very good high damage talent. For the second tier, we pick Subterfuge. The reason we pick Subterfuge is because we have a bunch of these traits called Shrouded Suffocation. I'll go over a little bit more in depth in that part of the video, but basically this gives you more combo points and more damage the more garrotes you put out, and this makes you able to, gives you the ability to put out more garrotes. So obviously this is gonna be really insane. And since Garrote is our highest damage dealer right now, it's the highest damage dealing ability we have, buffing that by 80% and making us able to cast it on multiple targets, for example, that's what makes Assassination do so much damage in Mythic Plus. For the third tier, I pick Vigor. It just does the most, it gives you the most damage. That's why I pick it. The other two don't really have any place in the spec unless you can maybe reset Marked for Death a bunch of times. If there are a bunch of ads, then maybe Marked for Death would be decent, but I'd probably still go for Vigor all around. For the fourth tier, I pick Sheet Death because sometimes I stand in shit, sometimes I potato and get whirlwinded or whatever. And this makes it so you don't die instantly from the first thing that hits you. It basically gives you an extra life, which is really nice to have. You can also pick Elusiveness if you know a big single target hit is coming, maybe in high Mythic Plus Tyrannical, for example. This might be useful. But keep in mind that Feint, normal Feint without this talent, still reduces the damage you take from AoE abilities by 40%. So this is only if you're taking hard hitting single target damage. So for the next tier, which is the fifth tier, I pick Iron Wire. This works really well together with Subterfuge since you can cast multiple garrotes and silence a full pack of mobs in Mythic Plus, for example. It also reduces the damage of the silenced targets by 15% for 8 seconds. So it helps your tank a lot since they don't take as much damage at the beginning of the pull and stuff like that. The other two are decent as well, if you're stunning a lot, then Prey of the Weak might be good, or Internal Bleeding, but I pretty much go for Iron Wire all around in PvE content. For the second to last tier, which is Toxic Blade versus Exsanguinate, this is a bit of a thinker, right? You want to sim your character to see which is better. Generally, Exsanguinate scales better with gear. So the higher gear you have, the better stats you have, then Exsanguinate is gonna be better. You can have Toxic Blade as well. Like there are people who play both, right? So there are more people towards the 350 eye level range that play Toxic Blade, and more people like above 360, 365 that play Exsanguinate. So that tells me that more like it scales better with gear. So if you're like 350 eye level, Toxic Blade is probably gonna be better for you. If you're like 365 or 360, then Exsanguinate is probably gonna be better for you. But I would suggest simming your character. I have a video on my channel. It's very simple to do, so you should definitely check that out. For the last tier, I pick Poison Bomb. I pick Poison Bomb for both single target and AoE. You can obviously choose whichever one you prefer for AoE. The reason I pick Poison Bomb is for Tyrannical Week, like it is right now. Then I like Poison Bomb because it gives me more boss damage. Also, I don't like Crimson Tempest because I feel the ads die too fast. You don't really get to put out your Crimson Tempest because you want to prioritize Garrote and Rupture on all the targets. And if you're putting up Garrote and Rupture on 4 different targets, that's gonna like take all your energy and all your globals. You're barely gonna have anything left to put out Crimson Tempest. But it is definitely a choice you can have. Maybe for Fortified it will be better. I haven't tried running any high mythics in Fortified, but if that is the case, then we'll definitely see. But Hidden Blades can also be decent. I was running that a little bit together with these shoulders that have the Fan of Blades trait. It increases the damage if it hits at least 3 targets and you don't cast it on anything lower than 3 targets, so this just buffs the damage of it. And it also increases the radius by 15 yards. The problem with this is that the radius is kind of annoying because then like, yeah, you hit more mobs, but you also like the range is huge. Like I'll show you right here. It's actually kind of funny. So let me show you right here what that looks like. You can actually hit them from like so far away with this trait. So like, there you go. So like this is the range of your Fan of Knives now. So you can imagine that it's like, you can hit like multiple packs with this. Like you can ninja pull with this without like meaning to do it and whatever. So that's why I don't really play with that anymore. It's kind of a little bit too risky. But yeah, you can definitely pair Hidden Blades with a shoulder piece like that. But I pretty much go Poison Bomb all around. But when Fortified comes around, if the mobs live for a really long time, then Crimson Tempest might be a good idea. But this tier is kind of down to preference. Like you can pick either of these 3 and be pretty fine. It's not a big deal. But for single target, Poison Bomb is the only viable option here. Let's talk about Azerite traits. So as you can see on the screen here, I have a page from bloodmallet.com. It's a really good website. I'll link it down below. It shows different simulations of trinkets and traits and things like this, so you can compare yourself. But as you can see here, the number 1 trait is Shrouded Suffocation. That makes it so your Garrote cast from stealth generates 2 additional combo points and deals X amount of additional damage. This depends on your eye level, your Azerite piece. So this is the best trait for single target. You want to stack 3 of these. But you also want to sim yourself when you get a new piece. And also, if you're raiding Uldir, which is the only raid right now, so why wouldn't you be raiding anything else? If you are raiding Uldir right now, then you want to have one trait with Reorigination Array. The way that works is that any piece that drops in Uldir, like this helmet for example, will have a trait called Laser Matrix, a Archive of the Titans. I think that's the 2 different ones you can get. Maybe there's another one, I don't know. But these are the 2 that I have. And they enable Reorigination Array within Uldir. It says there at the bottom. The way Reorigination Array works is that every week it gives you 75 of your best stat, like of your highest stat. So if you have 1000 haste, 700 of the other ones, then it will give you 75 haste per week. So this stacks up to 750 haste in total. So that's a really huge stat boost. So you definitely want to have 1 item at least with Reorigination Array. The effect does not stack, so you can't have like 3 items with Reorigination Array and get like triple the haste. Like it doesn't work like that. So that's why I use this 1 piece with Reorigination Array. And also Laser Matrix is pretty good. Like it simmed higher than my previous helmet, which was a 341 with Shrouded Suffocation. But every time you get a piece, you want to sim it. so you can make sure that it's better for your class. So the setup you want to go for in Uldir is 2 Shrouded Suffocations and 1 either Laser Matrix or Archive of the Titans, so you get the main stat buff. So let's go back to Blood Mallet here. We're gonna go to Hectic Ad Cleave, which is AoE. So as you can see here, Shrouded Suffocation is on place 6, but this is for a 3-minute AoE fight. So for example, in a dungeon, you're gonna be able to go in stealth much more often, which is gonna increase the value of Shrouded Suffocation by a lot. Since the only time you can stealth in a 3-minute AoE fight is with Vanish. So Shrouded Suffocation is the best trait for Mythic dungeons and for single target raiding. The reason I don't play 3 Shrouded Suffocations in Mythic dungeons is because I like the Laser Matrix, because it does AoE and it also heals a little bit. And I had the 340 helmet before, so the agility, like I get 132 agility from that, and also some stamina. And stamina is actually quite nice in dungeons. It helps you live a little bit longer. But so this is the Azerite setup that I go for everything. I don't switch my Azerite pieces around at all. So I used 1 Laser Matrix and then 2 Shrouded Suffocation. So let's look at the second tier, the tier 2 talents, or the tier 2 Azerite traits, which Overwhelming Power is a clear winner here. This is Hectic Ad Cleave, but for Patchwork, Overwhelming Power is a clear winner for single target. And but you don't want to focus on your like tier 2 traits. Like I've been saying this the entire time. You want to focus on your main traits, like getting the 2 Shrouded, getting the Reorigination Array and stuff like that, and then you can start looking at these traits. But you want to focus on your main traits, and then you can just go to this list and check what's better. So I think I run 1 Heed My Call, 1 Gut Ripper, and 1 Elemental Whirl. So, like, they're not the best ones, but you can't get the ideal item all the time. On to the stat weights. I really suggest that you sim your character. I will put an annotation on the screen with my guide video on how to sim your character, so if you don't know, please check that out. I also appreciate that some people just play casually, they don't really care about min-maxing, they just want to know what to go for kind of thing. So then you just want to get as much haste as you possibly can. Haste is your best stat by far, it's pretty much always going to be your best stat. It's even better than agility most of the time, so you don't even need to socket the 40 agility gem, you can just socket 40 haste gems all around. All the other stats are kind of similar, so in general, just get as much haste as you possibly can, but please guys, sim yourselves. Alright, let's talk about what kind of trinkets you want to go for. So the absolute best trinket that you can get is this one, the Gale Caller's Boon. You can see it in the list here, it's in the top, absolute top trinket you can have. At 370, which is this green part here, it's actually better than every single trinket at 385. So it's actually so insane of a trinket. The thing with it though is that you have to stand in it when you pop it. So like every minute you put down a rune on the ground, it gives you a bunch of haste. You want to stand in that rune at all times. You want to put it down at the time where you can actually stand in it. Because you don't just want to put it down and then, oh, the boss moved, I have to run out, you know. So it's a little bit of a gamble sometimes, but it definitely pays off. Like it's an insane trinket. The second trinket I'm using is the Darkmoon Deck Fathoms. Been using that ever since like the BFA came out pretty much. As you can see here at 355, it's like better than every single other 355 trinket other than the Gale Caller's Boon. The only upgrade for me right now that I'm working on would be the Harlan's Loaded Dice at 370. So at 370 it's a little bit better. I don't know why this tooltip on the site is so weird today, but here you can see the white line 370 Harlan's Loaded Dice compared to a Darkmoon Deck Fathoms down here is actually only slightly better, as you can see there with the white line. So the 2 trinkets I'm going for ultimately at 370 or above is Gale Caller's Boon and Harlan's Loaded Dice. They work really well together since Gale Caller's Boon is an on-use effect and Harlan's Loaded Dice is a passive. If you don't have that high eye level trinkets, you don't have access to them, you don't farm that high level mythic, then you can definitely get the Darkmoon Deck Fathoms. It's still a very solid trinket. You can get that, and then you want to farm the Gale Caller's Boon. Even at 340 it's a really good trinket, but you want to get that as high as possible obviously. So farm the Gale Caller's boon, then you can either buy Darkmoon Deck Fathoms or play with a high level Harlan's loaded dice. When it comes to races, you can see all of the different races on the screen here. The difference is not very big between even the lowest race and the best race. It's about 200 DPS. But as you can see, I've gone Troll because I really enjoy the racial. I think it works really well with the Gale Caller's boon. I'm gonna show you why. But these are the different numbers for the races. You can pretty much play whatever you want. The difference is not that big. I was undead before and I went Troll for 100 DPS increase. I'm a I love min-maxing my character, so I just had to do it, you know. But the effect is actually really nice from the berserking. Like, you can use your berserking together with your Gale Caller. I'm gonna show you right here. So you look at my haste right now, it's 16%. Then when I use my Gale Caller and my berserking together, I get 55% haste. Like 55% haste outside of Bloodlust, so insane. I really like the Troll racial. It works really well for the Assassination Rogue because like it gives you such a big burst beginning of fight, and every time you use berserking, obviously you can line it up with your Gale Caller. So that's why I like to be Troll, but you can play whatever you want. It's not a big difference. Alright, let's talk about some rotation. So it's very simple. All you want to think about is keeping your dots up on the target, your Rupture and your Garrote, and you want to use all your cooldowns on cooldown. You don't have to line them up like you do in sub. Here you just want to use them as soon as they're up for maximizing your DPS. So you do that, and then you also want to use your Envenom and your Rupture on 4 or more combo points. You never want to use them on like 2 or 3 like we used to back in the day with deliberate planning. That's no longer a thing. So you want to do like 4 or 5 combo point Envenom and Rupture. If you have 3, you want to mutilate one more time. So that's pretty much everything that you need to think about. You also want to get a good weak aura. You can get the one that I have. I'll put it down below in the description, updated for BFA. It works for all 3 specializations, like all 3 specs, like Outlaw, Sub, and Assassination. It switches depending on what you play. It's really nice to have, so I'll put that down below. And you also want to think about, if you use that weak aura, that when the text turns green, that means that you can reapply that dot with the pandemic effect. That means that the dot timers are added together. So you can get like a longer timer, like I'll show you here, right? So if I put one Garrote, that's 17 seconds, then I put another Garrote on top of that, that's 22 seconds. So it's like, it adds up with that effect. So that's really a really good thing to think about as well. Also, if you play Exsanguinate, you don't wanna like I'll show you here, okay? So I use Exsanguinate on that Rupture, and then you see this text is gonna turn green soon. Wait, I need some combo points. There you go. So it turns green there, but you don't want to refresh it when it turns green, because that's your exsanguinated dots. They tick 50% faster, so you don't want to overwrite them with your normal dots. So that's the only thing you need to think about if you use that weak aura. But that's pretty much it for single target. So I'll do a rotation now, like I'll do an opener and a little bit of that. So I'll talk over it like I usually do. Alright, so first off I Shadow Step in, I Garrote, I Rupture, then I Garrote again, and then I Mutilate into Rupture. This is to get the maximum duration possible of my dots. I follow this up by Vendetta, then I do my Exsanguinate, and on the global of my Exsanguinate I pop my Trinkets. Then I keep going, I get full combo points, I keep doing the high Envenoms. And this is how my opener looks like here for a few seconds. And then when your Rupture starts ticking down, you want to be ready to vanish into Rupture. So you make sure you don't have any combo points left when you vanish. So you vanish and you double Rupture for the maximum Rupture duration. And then you wait with those combo points until your Rupture runs off like that. Then you refresh it, and then you keep DPSing, you keep envenoming. So that's my opener. It's a lot of things that happen, but as you can see on the screen, like it's quite easy to follow. Alright, let's finish off the video by talking about some AoE rotation. It's very straightforward and very simple. The cooldowns, you just use them at your disposal. Try to target like a big elite. So let's say this guy is an elite, right? This guy is like the big HP priority target elite. So I put a star on his head, you know, so we can focus on him. But what you want to do is just keep all your dots up on as many targets as possible, since these targets are gonna live very long, as in forever. Then I have Crimson Tempest talented, because that does the best if the mobs are alive for a very long time. So what you start off with, you garrote everything. Like, you garrote as much as you can with your subterfuge, right? So I garrote 4 targets. Then you will start rupturing all the targets. You want to rupture as many targets as possible, because rupture is the biggest damage dealer, and it also gives you energy. And then instead of using your Envenom, you use Crimson Tempest on AoE. That's the difference, right? That's how you implement Crimson Tempest into your rotation. So since this guy is the elite, we're gonna start on him, right? So we'll do the we'll start on the elite here. So garrote, 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 rupture, trinket, vendetta, exsanguinate. Here you go, and then you want to start rupturing all the different targets that you have here. And the elite here, he needs another garrote, and then he needs another rupture, and then this guy needs a rupture. You know, you're a little bit like Oprah, you know, like you get a rupture, you get a rupture. Then when everyone has a rupture, you throw some Crimson Tempest in there. That's pretty much it right there. And then when people, like when they lose the garrote stacks, then you want to put another garrote on them, because it has a 6-second cooldown, so you can't just spam it, but you want to put it up as much as possible. And then just keep everything ruptured, keep everything garroted to the best of your ability. Then use Crimson Tempest with all your leftover energy and combo points and whatever. So that's pretty much the AoE rotation right there. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you do have any further questions, please feel free to come by my stream at twitch.tv/Nattle. Over the last 30 days, I've streamed 230 hours on there, so I'm getting very close to a 10-hour average per day. So I'm really happy about that. So if you want to see some more rogue content, that's definitely the place to be. But other than that, I don't have much more for you guys right now. If there's any updates to this guide or anything like that, I'll make videos on that, of course. But for now, thank you for watching and take care, guys.